This video is sponsored by no one. This is Ground Affected. My name is your mom, and welcome to a non-sponsored review. And if I say review, what I really mean is I'm just gonna open the machine I got and show you what I got. I would like to start this video off by just explaining why I have this machine in the first place. I have a Sonic Mighty 4K, and that is a machine that I use to do most of my larger size prints. It unfortunately died, the screen is definitely dead, and I'm not really sure if perhaps something else is wrong inside the machine. But I felt like it was time to upgrade. I've had it for over a year, and it was time for me to start getting the new technology, bigger resolution, better prints. Let's go. It feels nice and solid, to be honest. That I like. The main thing is the strength on the pull across the build plate here, especially if you do a full build plate full of stuff that's just got a lot of suction. You definitely want a lot of strength over here so that it doesn't pull and make horrible prints. So a lot of plastic stuff all over it, like glue, plastic glue, no, hot glue, what do you call it? There's a lot of it, whatever it is. Don't be stupid when you get a new printer. Do not ever turn this thing on with a build plate or anything on it at all, because that will just crunch straight through your screen and then everybody has a bad time. So I'm going to quickly clean up the box and the mess, and I'm going to get straight back into putting this together. We'll go through the first setup, the initial test exposure prints, and I'm going to set it off to print something, and we'll have a look what the prints look like at the end of the video. Okay, I'm gonna do the first turning on of the machine. That was the real time, how long it took to turn on. Makes a nice sound. It sounds so smooth. That's a serious Z-rod as well. The Z-rod is extremely thick, to be honest. They give you this handy dandy piece of paper, which is, this paper can be used for leveling. So I'm going to use this piece of paper for leveling. For the sake of information and content for my channel, I'm going to use a screen protector, even though previously we'll just cancel out the fact that I said I don't use a screen protector. I don't use a screen protector normally. I'm going to try it and let you know if there's any main differences. I think the main thing is to actually just be careful, because there is tape around the edges, and if you rub on the tape, you're going to pull off a little bit of the glue that's there, and you're just going to rub that onto the screen, so probably don't rub it too near the tape. I'm not going to lie, putting this screen protector on was probably one of the most difficult things I've done in quite a while. First of all, lining it up is kind of difficult, but more importantly, there is dust that comes out of it manufactures dust. There is no dust. You put the screen protector on, there's magical dust. I hate dust. Once I got the screen protector on, however, it was time to level the build plate. Obviously, the first thing you do is loosen up that plate, lower it down to the Z0, and then I like to make sure that I put a fair amount of pressure on the top of the plate, and I do each screw diagonally. So now that that's all been leveled and I've tightened these screws, it says in the manual to click Z equals 0. That is so weird. The FVP is milky, it's not even... That is weird. I'm going to open up Lychee and import the Mirror Labs test town. I'm also going to go and add my printer, and I'm just going to go over some of the settings. At first, you want to use probably close to stock just to see what happens. If it overexposes, you can always come back and change those settings later on. One thing I do want to add, I'm actually recording this after I had recorded everything else, but the textured build plate is great and all. The only thing I have a problem with the textured build plate, as well as the textured prints, is the fact that it holds a lot more resin. So the wasted resin has actually increased now. And I know this because of my cleanup area. I never used to have big pools of resin in there after cleaning up a plate. And this is even after scraping as much resin as I can off the model. And I even left one of them for around 6 to 8 hours. It still held much more resin than the ones without texture. Just a side note. And so, after 2 days of printing with this new machine, I can finally give you my opinion and my thoughts on this specific printer. I'm not 100% sure what my brain thinks about when I think about the misting of the FEP sheet. It does give a slight texture to the prints. It's not too crazy. It does maybe perhaps mask a little bit of the layer lines. I'm not 100% sure on that. I haven't painted anything yet, so I will still have to update that probably in a future video. The effort of putting on the LCD screen protector cover thing, I don't know if that's actually worth the effort. I have yet to actually destroy a screen, but I can understand how it can help other people who happen to destroy their screens just by mistake or perhaps through lack of experience or anything like that. So I can understand the need for a screen protector. I am using it because I want to see if there's any difference. I'm probably going to take it off in the future and then see if there's a difference between printing with it on and printing with it off, because I want to know, is it changing any of the details? Is it perhaps masking some of the light? I just want to know. Another thing I can say, Lychee Slicer has already got profiles for this machine. However, I did have to change quite a few things quite drastically. The exposure on the normal layer lines was a little bit over. It wasn't much, but just a little bit over. The exposure on the bottom layer lines, however, was way too far. It ended up turning my rafts into concrete, which were glued onto that lovely checkered base that they have textured onto the build plate. So if you are going to buy this machine and you're going to print your first prints, I would suggest perhaps dropping the exposure on the lower layers just for the first few prints, just to see where you're at. You can probably go down by at least 5 seconds. I went down completely, like by half, so it went from 20 seconds down to literally 9.5 seconds. I will also put my settings I use for this printer on the screen now, so you can see these are the settings I used with Nova 3D, and I mix a small amount of Tenacious. People ask often in the videos, how much do you mix? I don't really know, because all I do is I pour a little bit in until the bottle is slightly fuller. So on a new bottle, I literally just pour a little bit in. It's probably around, I would say about 10% I add to the bottle. And of course, this is my resin mix, and your resins may differ depending on what resin you have. In fact, if you use the same resins, your settings may differ too. So please be aware, when you are setting these machines, you do need to run an exposure test, and you do need to be able to read an exposure test in order to know what you're looking for in the machine. And so I haven't really got too much experience with this machine, but my opinion as of right now is that I'm happy with the purchase that I made. And so far the prints are looking extremely crisp, and I do think it is perhaps an upgrade over the Sonic Mighty 4K that I was using before. Of course, even the screen itself is an upgrade. And of course, if you actually have managed to make it this far into another one of my videos, I congratulate you and I thank you for watching and supporting the videos on this channel. Of course, if you want to support the channel, the best thing you can do is click on another ground effective video and watch it all the way to the end. And when you're done, you should probably share it with your gran. Also, while you're down there, you might as well click like, and you know you want to click subscribe. And once you've done those two, you can leave a comment in that little space below where they give you a place to write words and tell me what you think about the dust underneath my new LCD protector. And of course, I absolutely need to thank the most important people who, without them, I wouldn't have been able to get this machine. And that is my Patreons. It's because of you guys and the strong support that you have for the channel. A couple of you know who you are. I must say thank you to you and everybody else who supports the Patreon, because without you guys, none of this would have even been possible. And if you would like to support the channel further than just watching a video, then the best thing you can probably do is join the Patreon. This gives you access to the Discord. It is a private Discord where only the best painters and printerers are ever to be found upon the internet. If you've managed to make it this far in another one of my videos, I don't know what you're still doing here. But there's really one way of fixing it if you didn't like anything that you saw in this video. And that's pretty simple. Just click dislike and f*** off. Wouldn't it be nice if 3D printer companies would actually see my value in this community?